Yo, this is Adrian from PDC coming at you with another video. This time we're looking at a super interesting matchup, Purple Luffy versus Enel. As you guys might know, this weekend will be the very first official OP05 regional competition where all the new Tier 1 decks will be duking it out. Sakazuki, Purple Luffy, Enel, Whitebeard, Zoro, you name it. I'm super excited about it. I myself will be competing and trying my very last chance to win that serial Luffy. So I figured, while I was doing my research and learning and doing my preparations, I could do it with you guys. So yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at this championship series match. I think this matchup is very Purple Luffy favored. For a lot of reasons, right? One is that Enel does play a lot like Whitebeard, and so his effect is, during your opponent's turn, once per turn, if you're at 0 life, you can discard 1 card from your hand and actually heal 1 card to your life from your deck. So that means that Enel prefers to have a very large hand size so that it could keep doing that effect, which means that Purple Luffy has an insane counter in the 4-cost blocker law, where if the opponent has 7 cards or more, you do a Don -1 effect to automatically discard 2 cards from their hand. On top of that, there's a lot of other reasons why Purple Luffy is so strong into this matchup, and I think while we watch this game, we're going to go ahead and talk about it, right? From the NL side, there are 2 decks two different types of decks that NL plays. One is the Sky Island, that's a little bit more aggressive. So you're gonna see Holy, you're gonna see the Holy Priests, and the 7-cost Rush NL. Then the other variation is the Big Mom Pirate variation, where you're running the 7-cost Charlotte Linlin. So let's go ahead and get this game started. Alright, so turn 1, Luffy starts first and passes, and then turn 1, Enel does a search. Very standard. And then over on Luffy's side, this is turn 2, Don 3, and this is where Luffy has the ability to ramp. Purple Luffy can, once per turn, take a life from their life to their hand in order to gain an extra Don. So 4 costs, and Luffy plays a Khalifa. The Khalifa is a 2k counter. When attacking, Don -1 to draw 2 -1. It's kind of essentially like a mini queen. So if you're not able to answer the Khalifa, that's when Luffy can really start palling the advantage and getting all those +1s. But I think right now is a little bit too early for yellow, and doesn't want to waste the 2 million vaults. So he just goes ahead and swings 6 and plays the Holy 3-cost vanilla, which is perfectly fine. But here's when Luffy actually becomes really scary around the turn 3, and he's able to ramp once again, getting himself down to let's see, 2 life. Did he take earlier? He only ramped twice, so he must have taken a swing. Oh, that's very it's very rare to see Luffy's not counter out early. He must know something that we don't. So Luffy swings for 5. Really typical behavior from Enels. Usually the first 2, and sometimes even the 3rd life is really a buffer. It's not a joke to say that Enel's game really starts off at 1 life, because that's when they start defending it and then being able to replenish that life with their leader ability. So Luffy has 7 Don available. He's got some cards to play. You can see in his hand he has Queen, and he has Magellan, both of which are great options. If he plays Queen, he basically has a 6k blocker that gives him an extra card in hand. If he plays Magellan, he's able to slow down the enemy's turn, opponent's turn. Especially, you see a second Magellan, right? So if he's able to play a second Magellan after this, he can put Enel back an entire turn, right? Right now, both players are set back just one Don. But then, you know, on Enel's next turn, he'll be 8 Don after this. And then if a second Magellan was played, he would be at 6 Don, which is, you know, I think Magellan itself is a really busted card, especially since it's so sticky on board. It's like a better Perospero. All right, so a little bit of an awkward turn since he only played 5 Don, you know, but I don't think it mattered just because Enel took that 5k swing anyway. So on Enel's side, he's at, I believe, 6 Don. He swings twice, once with his vanilla, and then I think now he's deliberating a 7k swing or a 5. Depends what he's able to play. So he plays 5. He swings with 5, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Don available. He should be at 6 right now, but Magellan kind of screwed him over. And he plays Gadatsu. So this is, you know, another reason why Purple Luffy is so good into this matchup, because by this point in time, when Enel is at 5 Don and is able to play Gadatsu on curve, Luffy will already have ramped twice. So he would be at 3 life or below, which, you know, makes Gadatsu's effect essentially useless. Gadatsu can only pop characters that have the cost of your life and less, and Luffy is constantly at low life. And yeah, so just like we talked about, a second Magellan came out, and this is when it's rough, right? Luffy swings for 5. I told you guys, this game in particular, they play really fast. So Khalifa swings for 5, Don -1, and draw 2, discard 1. So essentially a +1, and kind of acts as a pseudo blocker, because now that Khalifa has come online, you have to deal with that Khalifa. So there's too many swings, Enel counters, and yeah, Luffy does what Luffy does. He starts clearing the board, starts swinging with Magellan. Just keep in mind that, you know, Magellan's ability is on KO. Your opponent loses 2 Don if he gets destroyed. So Luffy knows that on the next turn, the Magellans cannot be removed from the board yet. So this is kind of like a worst case scenario for Enel. So Luffy just swings for 7. And yeah, it was a good trigger. He triggered a search, and now he can look for another. And he gets the Satori, which is a 2k counter. Very nice. Trying to keep a healthy hand size. Yeah, so if you guys have noticed, you know, Enel right now has a sizable hand. I think about 8 cards. If you look at Purple's hand, you can see a law blocker on the right side. Yes, so they do have a law blocker that will probably be played next turn, and it's gonna really suck for Enel. Another thing is that Enel is stuck at 7 Don, and so he can't really play anything that's super useful, right? Like, I think Enels want to get their Katakuriyas online, they want to get their Yamatos online, they want to start spamming those high costs. But yeah, before that turn 4 8 Don, there's not much they can do, and if you set him back even further, it's going to be a really difficult game. Yeah, so he's at 6 Don? Yeah, I think it's very confusing, but yeah, he's at 6 Don, so there we go. Gadatsu swing for 7 at life. I think that's a strong move. Probably will have to counter out this one. If he doesn't, that's some cojones, and I respect it. But I think right now, you know, if it were me, I would play that Gom Gom Rain. Let's see, he's mulling it, and he takes it. So what that means is, you know, Purple feels really safe. Very interesting. And I was like, okay, if you can't take that 7 hit, I'll swing you for 8. So at this point, I think he needs a counter, and wow, okay, so yeah, Luffy just took both. that is, that's wild. So I think Enel, from Enel's side, he's really happy. Very, very efficient turn, and that's not life that, you know, Purple Luffy can get back. All right, so on Purple Luffy's side, obviously at 0 life you do need to play a blocker, and you know, what's better than playing Law into this matchup, right? -2 cards from Enel's hand. Let's see. I think what Luffy really wants to grab are those 2 million vaults. A Beige and a Satori, so 4k encounters. You know, not too bad, not bad at all. Let's see what he's gonna do with all these Don. He still has 4 Don left, and he's probably gonna play another blocker. Awesome. Okay, so double blockers up for Purple Luffy. I think, you know, and another reason why Purple's so good into this matchup is that, you know, despite what we're seeing here, oh, he had a hand count of more than 7 still. Oh, that is an awesome play. Okay, so he actually was able to use the Law effect twice. So he discarded a total of 4 cards from Enel's hand. That is a crazy amount of cards. So the swings come in. Enel's, you know, basically had to use double L Thor, which is basically, you know, the yellow version of Radical Beam. That's 2 cards left in hand for Enel. That is, oof, that is some aggression. So honestly, there's a really good chance that, you know, that Luffy just runs away with this game. So yeah, again, Khalifa sticks on the board, so that's another draw to -1. Really good for Purple Luffy's side. Really well played. And honestly, there's not many outs for Enel here. I mean, we can see that Luffy has over 6k worth of counters, right? I think he has 2 2k counters, 2 1k, and a Gum Gum Rain. So that's 6, 8, 12 or 13k worth of counters. I think the only thing that would save Enel here is if he had double 2 million vaults. And so yeah, I want to talk to you guys about 2 million vaults. The problem into Purple Luffy is that most of Purple Luffy's blockers are actually 5 costs and above. You know, like the Queens, the Kids, and so 2 million vaults, even though it is useful here, it's just not as effective into this matchup in particular. Yeah, so 9k swing into Gidatsu. Luffy uses a blocker, and then afterwards he tries to 2 million vaults, and yeah, Purple Luffy is able to counter all of it. That 10k swing was not enough, which is why I mentioned earlier he needed 2 million vaults as an out, right? He basically needed to swing for over 13,000, and also get rid of those blockers. So at this point, I think Yellow is just praying that Purple doesn't have more blockers on hand, but unfortunately, you know, the blockers are gonna keep coming. I think this turn up, Luffy can do all sorts of things. I think, you know, what's probably going to happen, you know, he's just going to keep swinging with Magellans since they're so sticky on board. Swing 7s works, swing 6 works. I don't think that there's a wrong answer here. So he takes this, and then he discards a card and replenishes his life. So this is when it gets really scary for Enel, because he can't do it again in the same turn. So another 7k swing, counter out. I think this is it. Swing for 5. You just swing for 5. Leader and swing. All right, Khalifa. Come on, just swing with your Luffy. I know you want to. $7k swing. Yeah, I think 7k swing takes it, right? He has 1 card in hand, can't counter out of this. What is he afraid of? A Thunderbolt? No. There's nothing he can do here. And he draws a dead Yamato. Oof. 6k, 7k swing, and that is game. Yeah, so you guys can see it was a very overwhelming victory. This one was a really quick one. So yeah, I think let's cover the stuff that we touched on, right? The 4-cost law basically won the game. Gadatsu not being able to use its effect, on play effect, really hurts. And 2 million volts not being able to target most blockers in purple's deck. I know that we didn't get that far because, you know, the law blockers kind of just took over the game, but if we went further into it, you know, we would have seen the 5-cost kids comes out, the queens, and it would have been, you know, really terrible for Enel. So just in general, this matchup is, you know, set up and build a wide board against Enel and just start swinging wide. And you know, if you can get rid of the cards in their hand a lot, like early on and also later, then that's even better. But the game, like similar to Whitebeard, the game's not over until Enel has 4 to 5 cards in hand. So that wraps up this matchup. I think we're gonna look at more Enel matchups. I think Sokka versus Enel is something that's super interesting. I want to see some Whitebeard action, and I personally think that Zoro is a little bit underrated into this meta because it's so hyper tuned to be so aggressive. So yeah, I'll catch you guys on the flip and see you with the next video. Peace out. Thank you.